welcome back to another episode of Mo Money, No Problems, the podcast where we talk about financial growth, wealth building, and what it takes to create stability in your life. I'm your host, William Mosley, and today's conversation is very powerful because before the money, before the wealth, before the success, it starts with your mind. I'm talking about brain alignment and what it takes to hold you back or move you forward. To help us understand this, I have a very special guest, Dr. Nancy Williams. Welcome.
Yeah. It is wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me on the show. I look forward to it.
Thank you. To begin, can you tell us about your background and what brought you into this field?
So I'm a holistic doctor and a life purpose mentor, but I didn't always start that way. I actually was an air traffic controller for 20 years, and I spent my last 10 years at Atlanta Hartsfield, the busiest airport in the world. And I became sick, like many of my coworkers, and I just really, really wanted to heal. I found myself sick emotionally, sick mentally, sick physically, and I was seeing what it was doing to my coworkers, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. So I retired from air traffic control. I went back to school. Nice. And became a holistic doctor 18 years ago, and I've had a Living on Purpose retreat that I do every year at my retreat home. So I went back to study holistic wellness, to become whole.
Beautiful. Can you explain to us what that actually means, a holistic doctor? I mean, we everybody goes to the doctor, but what is a holistic doctor and how does it differ from?
So most people, they focus on just their physical body, and that actually is a starting point, but the physical body is really to help you know that there's something mentally, emotionally that's out of alignment. So the holistic parts of us is our spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and I also focus on the social because our relationships, our environment, our finances, yes, it all plays a role in who we are and being aligned to those aspects of who we are. When I became sick, I was really like everybody else focused on the physical aspects of myself. But until I became aware that my mental was actually being outpictured through my physical body, I stayed in that condition. And for years when I became sick, I had stepped away, but I wanted to go back. And every time that I tried to go back, I just became more sick. So it was at that time I discovered that when you want to make these type of changes, it starts internally. And so that's what led me on the journey to go back to school, become a holistic doctor, and start giving my Living on Purpose retreats because it is about purpose alignment.
And I hear you talk about your retreats. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in your retreats, the people that come to you, how they not aligned? So
with alignment, it's about where your thoughts, your actions, your mental body, it all aligns to like your vision, your purpose, your kingdom assignment. That's what I call alignment. When you can align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions to what you desire, because it's twofold. Most people are aligned to what they don't want instead of aligned to what they do want. And so when I do my monthly retreats, I help you align to what you desire in your life, not just coming from a perspective of do this, do that, do this. It's like, this is who I am, this is why I was created, and this is my assignment in life. And so you have more of that understanding when you come to my retreat home. And it's because I had to go through that process to discover that about myself before I could actually teach it to someone else.
Great. And it's interesting you say that because I do think the stresses of life, the stresses of what we think we should be doing, who we think we are, and who other people perceive us to be,
yes,
all plays into that. And when you said you were working at Hartsfield International, I guess that's stressful right there. I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what can be more stressful than making sure the planes don't.
Right. So that's what it was. It was coming from stress, a life of out of alignment, to more aligned, a life of more peace. When you're misaligned, you're out of misalignment is really saying I'm out of focus on who I was created to be and the purpose for which I was created to live. Because your mind is like, it's like a steering wheel. So like the steering wheel is going to send you in some direction.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean it's going to send you in the right direction. I mean, if you want to go, well, I'm going to use the air traffic analogy. If you have a flight plan that wants to take you to California, but you are aligned to go to Kansas City, then you're never going to reach California.
God.
So that's what mind alignment is like. It's like being on a treadmill going so fast, but you're going nowhere because you're not aligned to where you really want to go. So it's important to, most people step out, they do a lot of things, but they're never aligned to what they were really created to do and be in life. And so it's frustration in that. There's feelings of feeling stuck, having doubts, overthinking. And so when you get aligned, all those things, it doesn't mean that you don't have things and situations to arise in life. It just means you're more capable of handling them in a more relaxed and peaceful manner, which is what people need and want.
Because you're doing what you were meant to sent here to do.
Right. So like with my purpose, I'm purposed to do what I do now, and I align my life. You know, when I was air traffic controller, my life was aligned to air traffic control. When I wanted to become a holistic doctor for my own well-being, because at the time I'd never thought about opening up a wellness center and a retreat home, but I had to shift my alignment from air traffic and align my mental, emotional, and actions to being a holistic doctor and a life purpose mentor. So you have to make those shifts. And so I even recommend that every year that people go through my program, because as you grow and go through personal development, you have to realign. You got to see where you're out of alignment, or you'll continue to go in the same directions you've been in.
And it's crazy because I think coming up, we're taught to go to school, go to college, get a job, but it's almost like we are being brought up to be who everybody else wants us to be. And you're right. A lot of people go into careers that they're unhappy, they're miserable, and then one day they wake up and you say, I wasted my whole life taking care of somebody else's business, but not taking care of me or my business.
Yes.
For instance, like for me, when I graduated college, I for some reason got put into finance. I was in finance, did things like transfer pricing, and I was traveling a lot and everything. But I always felt that it's fun. I'm traveling, I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not really doing something purposeful. And
well, I think finance is purposeful.
No, but I was for a corporation.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yes.
And so thanks for bringing me back. But I always felt that my purpose was to help people.
Okay.
I always felt my purpose was to enlighten, educate, and help people see to their full potential, whether that be financially, whether it be coaching kids and things like that, things that make me happy. And I see exactly what you're saying, that if you do something that is sucking your spirit, after a while, it really does wear on you.
Yes.
It really does. And I can see where you say you're out of alignment, because you're out of spiritually and physically what you feel you're not doing what you want to do or what you are meant to do. And I do think it's important that people really understand that your work is very, very important, because, mental health is out there.
Yes.
And people, whether we want to admit it or not, all of us have our things.
Yes.
I always say. So I wonder, when a person is really out of alignment, how does that affect them financially?
So, to the point of what you just said, we're taught a lot of things when we're younger. Like, for instance, one of the sayings that we have is, if you, like for women, if you put your purse on the floor, you'll always be broke. Well, if you put you'll be broke if you put your purse on the table and you're not going through financial education.
Exactly.
You're not aligning yourself to financial budgets and options. And so, we have all these things that we were taught that really doesn't apply to who we are and helping us to get to where we want to be. Mm-hmm. So we actually have to realign ourselves to that. So even for me, like, I knew the importance of finances, and I would start a budget. I'm kind of old school where I like to write, so I would start a budget. Midway through the year, it would just go out the door. Mm-hmm. And I did that for many years until someone taught me that I needed to really put it on the computer because, my best friend, she bought a book to me, a financial book, mm-hmm. and I started reading it, and I put the budget on the computer and really made it I aligned my day to, if I went out, normally if we leave the house, we spending money, mm-hmm. whether we going to the grocery store, whether we going to the gas station, we spending money. So I made it a habit to, when I came home, take my receipts and do that budget. And it really saves you time because at the end of the year, before actually putting this process into effect, I was spending so much time on taxes, weeks. Now, with the budget on the computer, it made it very simple. So now I'm 2 to 3 hours getting my taxes because mm-hmm. it's already set for the year, just taking those few moments at the end of the day mm-hmm. to be able to put that in effect. So it's really about redirection of your life is about, first, any change that takes place has to be awareness. You have to become aware that there is a problem.
Yes.
And in that awareness is really going to take new knowledge and understanding. So when I went from being an air traffic controller to a holistic doctor, it took new knowledge. It took new understanding. And from that, I had to start implementing that into my life. And sometimes people feel like they're so full. Like I don't have any time to do anything else. And it is about releasing those things that no longer serve you in your old seasons. So I had to release those air traffic things that didn't serve anymore. And I had to rebuild. It's almost like rebuilding your life so that you can live in another type of purpose. Yes. And so that's what it takes, that type of structure. But it first takes awareness and then seeking out that knowledge. I needed more financial knowledge, and I'm still not where I want to be because I know there's more investments and more savings and more things that I want to do. However, that process, as long as you start it and then just keep it in focus year after year, you will get to where you want to be. But you have to normally release something and then rebuild something in your life to get you there.
And it's interesting you said that because I struggle with clients who I always say don't want to sacrifice. I have friends right now that are doing very well, but I try to explain to them, you have to sacrifice now to live better in the future. So I 100% understand what you're saying because I fight. It's a struggle to get people to understand you don't need this. You don't need that. And they'll say, well, yeah, but give me another year. It's always give me another year. Mm-hmm. Give me another. And I'll say to them, yeah, but that's going to happen until you're 50 or 60. Then you're going to say, oh, my God, I should have did this when I was in my 20s and 30s or 40s. So it is, I do need to understand, how do I get them to change that behavior? Like you said, not have a sense of urgency, but almost just have change their awareness of where they are and look at it and say, I need to do something now. Because people never look at their finances and say, I need to do something now, as long as they're making money.
Right.
And I try to explain to them, yeah, but do it now. I always say, do it while you're hot. Meaning do it right while you're young, you're making money, you're working. but it's it's a mindset, and you're right. Unless they deem it important, they won't do it.
That's absolutely correct. And I think it starts with one, evaluating your life. What in your life is working for you and what in your life is not working for you. And then starting to incorporate, like I define my life now. Like part of my alignment and my purpose is one, what I'm doing as a holistic doctor and in my monthly Living on Purpose retreats. I love that. That's purpose for me. But I also like a lifestyle that I like to live is I love to walk and hike and teach and travel, and I like my solitude. That's a lifestyle that I like to live. So once a month, I actually take with the library there, I partner with the Arabian Mountain Library. We're hiking. I take
wow,
people
okay.
on the mountain to hike once a month. I teach holistic wellness to Snellville Senior Citizen Adult Active Center once a month. And these are things, and then I do my retreats monthly. So I create the lifestyle that I desire, but you have to first, and this is what the retreats do. I take them through a 9-purpose alignment roadmap. And in that roadmap, you're discovering who you are, why you were created, your core values, your core way of being, your core lifestyle, and even your core needs. And so you go through this purpose alignment. Well, it sets the foundation of where you need to start.
Okay.
And then from knowing all this about yourself, we talk about the next steps for that you must take to get what you're asking for. If you, like I was saying, that plane wants to go to California and you got it to stop in Kansas City, you're not going to make it to California. And that's the way this 9-purpose alignment roadmap works, is to get people on the path.
How do you, but I guess for me, like, how do you get people to come to that realization? Like, do they come to your retreats looking for something, or do they come to your retreats reluctant? How do you break through that? Because that's my biggest thing. It's like sometimes I try to explain, listen, these are your numbers and we need to work on that. But yeah, I still get the reluctancy. So how, when people come to your retreats, how do you get them to realize that, hey, a change is needed?
So unfortunately, a lot of people don't make change until there's pain. That's most of it is, and I have a quote, it's every pain has a prayer, every prayer has a process, and every process has a purpose. Now, when you break that down...
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Because that was amazing. Say that again.
Every pain has a prayer, and every prayer has a process, and every process has a purpose. And I want to break it down just a little bit further, because this is what people are asking for when they pray. They're asking for redirection. When you pray, you're asking for redirection. So every pain has a prayer, which is asking for redirection. Every prayer has a process where you're asking for reconstruction, and reconstruction has to do with personal development normally. It's not, we have reached the level that we're going to where we are. In order for me to take a 180 to get to become a holistic doctor, I had to go through process. I had to go through reconstruction. And then for every process has a purpose. That is your restoration. You are restored in this process. So I teach what I lived. I've been in the pain. I know what it's like to be hurt, and I know my retreats are for women. And most women, we're multitask. We carry a lot of weight, and when most women take my retreat, it's because they're frustrated. They've reached that pain of frustration. They've reached a place of hurts, brokenhearted, feeling stuck, maybe even wanting to go to their next level. This is when they join the retreat, because they've taken many steps, they've done many things, and they're running on the treadmill and they're getting nowhere. So my retreats are to help them align to this is the process. And every pain that you have has a prayer.
Oh.
And every prayer that you have has a process. And I'm going to take you to that process. And I'm going to help you get through that process so that you can live out. My whole goal, just like you were talking about finances, is to help people get on their road to purpose. Because purpose is where you actually are living life instead of just existing in life.
Got you. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with Dr. Nancy Williams.